Hi everyone, my name is Owen Sherwood. I teach on the Design Technology A-levels at Long Road, and we put this video together for you so you can have a feel for our courses, see a bit of the kind of work you're going to do, and hopefully answer quite a few questions you have about being a student on these courses. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I hope you find it useful. So the first thing to discuss is that we do in fact have two separate A-levels here at Long Road. We have Design Technology, Fashion Textiles, and Design Technology, Product Design. Both of those courses are run by the exam board AQA, and they share a lot of similarities in terms of how the marking is derived and the sort of structure of the coursework. However, the content of those two courses is very different, which hopefully is exciting to you. You'll be able to focus really on what you're interested in as you go into A-level. The marking for both is made up of 50% of your coursework, so that's all the practical work, and 50% of your exam results. So at the end of the second year, you're going to sit two papers. Paper one will cover the technical principles of the course, so it will be things like materials properties and their applications, health and safety, industrial practice and manufacture. Paper two will focus on the designing and making principles that you've learned. So it would be things like design methods and processes, some design theory, cultural and moral and ethical implications of design, sustainability, that kind of thing. Both of these papers will have maths-based questions, and that's quite important for you to realize. They're described by the exam board as GCSE higher level questions, and they're always in the context of design technology. So it's not just straight up maths out of nowhere. They're always in context of what you've been learning, and we do cover them throughout the 2 years. The entry requirements for both courses are 7 GCSEs at 4 and above, including maths and English. So that's similar to all the other A-levels at Long Road. And we do ask that if you have taken GCSE Design Technology, that you've gotten a 5. And we just put that in there to stress the sort of jump from GCSE to A-level. So if you're studying GCSE Design Technology now, aim hard for that 5. But likewise, if you weren't able to take the GCSE, we won't stop you from enrolling on the course. The coursework for either one of these subjects is a little bit different than you might be used to. Basically, you're required to submit one final major project, and that's where you get that 50% of your marks from. So what we've done is we've decided to start that second project, or rather that major project, we start that in your second year, right at the end of the first year and carrying on across the summer into the second year. So what that does is it frees up your first year to tackle all the different coursework elements you're going to have to do in that major project, but we can do it in a sort of more flexible manner, which is really great. We can do a lot of different skill building. So you'll practice different ways of designing, different ways of making. You'll try out lots of different materials and processes, and you'll probably make quite a few mistakes, but hopefully you'll be learning all this time and building up your skills, getting ready to tackle that major project in the second year. The other nice thing about that is that we are able to be flexible in our teaching of it. So for instance, all of our current first year students are now working remotely. And so we were able to sort of quickly change and design and come up with a smaller project where they're now designing things that ease with staying in and ease with life in lockdown, which is really interesting, and it ties to current events and all that kind of thing, which is really great. So the whole first year's coursework is all about learning the skills you're going to need, but also sort of building you up into your own individual designer through smaller projects and these skill building exercises. And on the next few slides, we've got some examples of the first year coursework. I won't talk over the top of it entirely, but you can have a read of what Lucy here thinks of the course and have a look at some of her work. And over the next page, we've got some product design and architecture work as well. And here we have a bit more first year coursework, this time from the product design course. We've got some architectural sketches and notes around the edge there, and then a couple of pictures of models for these smaller kind of projects I was describing for first years. So after you've had the chance to try all the different elements of the final major project, throughout your first year, you'll be doing the coursework in bits, so to speak. It's time to tackle the final major project. So we've got some examples here. We've got a lovely piece of textiles work. We've got some product design, working radio, and a little architectural model there. And that project takes the format of research, design, manufacture, and evaluate. So you'll be doing lots of different research to uncover a good problem, finding a client that needs a solution. You'll be working with them throughout the whole thing. You'll be looking around at design history and finding influences from all over the place. That all falls under the research. Then that kind of comes together as a design brief and a specification, and these are the things that guide your designing. And then at the end of the designing, you'll be getting ready to make. So you'll have to be able to plan where every individual screw goes, or the exact amount of materials you're going to need to make things. And if you're working in textiles, you're going to have to come up with a specific pattern that someone else could follow. So it's really interesting. It's really in-depth designing and planning, and that will get you set up for manufacturing and making these things. And then, of course, there's an evaluative element. So throughout the whole process, you'll be speaking back and forth to your client, getting their views. You'll be self-evaluating your own work, seeing what you like and what you don't like. And at the end of the final major project, you'll present sort of an evaluation of the whole thing and what you might go on to do further. We also have a whole host of enrichment activities that we spread out throughout the 2 years of the course. We have a lot of guest speakers in from industry, so that might be a local architect or local designer come in and share their work and their thoughts on working in the field. We have university representatives come in and talk about a particular course that might be interesting. And we have returning students who've left us in the last few years to come back and tell us about all the great things they've done and are doing now. We head out locally into Cambridge and the surrounding area quite a bit. Go to Marshall's Aerospace. We'll take in the ARU fashion show, the graduating university students fashion show there. We also make an annual trip down to London to the New Designers exhibition, which is really great. That is all the graduating university students highlighting their best work from around the country. And we do that right as we make the switch from the first to second years, and it gets the students really thinking about what they're going to do after Long Road and maybe gives them some good inspiration for their final major project. And we also just try and take in as much stimulating content as we can. We'll make some trips down to the Design Museum or the Victoria and Albert Museum in London as well. And all that can feed, not only enriches, but it can feed directly into the sort of research I was talking about during the coursework. So here we have some example year 2 coursework from Jessica. She was doing an architecture project. And if you look at that picture of her folio there, you'll see lots of evidence of experimentation with different materials. And this is sort of in the design phase, working out what she's going to make her model from and what processes are going to work best. Then she's got a little bit of CAD, which is computer-aided design. So again, that's something you might practice. Well, you will practice in the first year. You'll be building up those skills ready to sort of use them in the final major project. And then that bottom picture is her model taken from a sort of downward angle. She made a really interesting model that could come apart and you could see the different floors and different materials. A bit tricky to see in that picture, but it's a lovely architectural model. And she's got a quote there telling us what she thinks. I won't read it out, I'll let you read it for yourself. Next up we have a recent year 2 leaver, Casey, who's going on to do something besides textiles, but she's just talking a little bit interestingly about what the course can give her. When you move away from the subject to do things after Long Road, it's still quite a good A-level because of the academic level and the skills you're going to pick up. They're applicable to a lot of different things. And here we have another year 2 leaver showing off some of her design work. This is Joanna. And if you look at those photos there, she's got some nice digital drawings from the sort of plant forms there that inspired her designing and got her working. The middle picture shows what we call toile making, which is when you take your pattern and turn it into sort of a first draft using, the materials aren't correct, but you can try it on for fit and that sort of thing. And then the picture on the left shows a bit of draping, which is a really good skill you'll pick up in the first year, which is where you're literally draping fabrics over the mannequins and using pins and trying to come up with interesting silhouettes and shapes that way. She's again got another little quote there you can have a read of. In terms of progression, we're really proud of our DT kids and the great things they go on to do. We've got a list here of some of the university and apprenticeship programs they go on to study with. Some may go directly into the world of work. The nice thing about studying these A-levels at design technology is that you will produce a sort of creative portfolio, if you like. You'll have a body of work, but you'll also prove that you have ability within examined sort of traditional academic courses, if you like. So it's quite a well-rounded subject to study, and it opens a lot of doors to a lot of different areas. And here we have one of our former students, Henry Smith, who we're very, very proud of. He did product design with us, and after leaving Long Road, went on to Loughborough University to study industrial design. He left there in 2019 and is well on his way to a wonderful career as a industrial and product designer. And here we have a former textiles student of mine, Saskia Dora, who, after doing her A-levels at Long Road, she went on to UAL, Wimbledon, to study costume interpretation. And she now is working in the costume industry, doing really clever things like working for the Royal Opera House. She's worked on Doctor Who and The Witcher. We're very proud of her. And she is an example of one of the enrichment activities. She's kind enough to come in. She spoke to my year twos this year, showing them all her different work, both from Long Road and the university and professionally. And that's it. I hope you found this video useful and informative. If you've got any questions, you can find my email and Charlie, the other teachers. Our email should be down there somewhere. We'd love to hear from you. Feel free to ask us a question, and hopefully we'll see you in the autumn term. Bye-bye. Take care, everyone.